Good evening, Believe in Monsters podcast. Oh my gosh, this is the Believe in Monsters podcast, and we are here getting you ready for NFL draft season. College basketball officially ended yesterday. NBA playoffs are in the horizon, but the next major thing outside of the Masters is the NFL draft this month. And really, it's a huge time. It's a great time to be a Chicago Bears fan. And we appreciate everybody watching us on YouTube and Twitter and all the platforms that we're on, Facebook as well. Believe in Monsters podcast. You guys subscribe to us, the Believe in Monsters podcast, right there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're bringing you great Bears coverage each and every week, along with my friend Chris Krogman, Lucas Berry. I am Joe Gaither. We're going to have a fun episode tonight talking mock drafts. I'm pretty sure everyone in the world knows what's going to happen at number one, especially given some Bears news that happened today. We'll talk about that just briefly. But the rest of the podcast will be interesting tonight. The three of us will be representing select teams in the NFL and running our own mock draft because the biggest question, Lucas Berry, is what the Bears will do at number 9. Many options. You can trade back. You can take a receiver. You can take a tackle. You can take anybody that you want. You got great options. So that's what's going to be the premise of our episode tonight. Before we get our mock draft started, appreciate my co-host joining us, Chris Krogman. How are you, sir?
Joe, I'm good, man. Super jealous that you're down there in Arizona watching the Final Four and the championship game. That's super awesome for you. But excited about this draft season. It's wild that, we've been talking number one, talking quarterback for so long, and we just started to unravel what could happen at number 9. But that is going to be a big deal. So stoked to get into this mock draft and into the conversation about number 9.
Lucas Berry, tell the people how you're doing, sir.
I'm doing fantastic. It is draft season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love covering the draft. I love, watching film on all the prospects. I love talking about it. And as we always talk about here, our running joke is that the Bears Super Bowl is the off season. So this is gold to all of us, at least for now. Hopefully, maybe not in the future when Caleb Williams takes off. I am doing well. We need Joe Gaither back in here. He is at the airport trying to fly home tonight after covering the Final Four. Joe, before we dive into this mock draft, okay. He's on that airport Wi-Fi. I was going to say.
Oh, it's the worst.
Tell us how your experience at the Final Four was, but.
It was great, Lucas. Sitting courtside, in case you don't follow at Joe Gaither 6, you're missing out, especially if you're a Bama fan. Homie was right on the court. Got a good picture of Edie and whatever that other tall dude's name is from
Klingon.
Klingon. He's a Klingon. Doing the tip. That was pretty legit. So our boy Joe down there in Glendale, checking out the Final Four and the national championship game. Bama had no shot. We all know that. But hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Hey! The real national championship game was played on Saturday night. Alabama had that game tied at 12:56 in the second half. What was Purdue at 12:56 in the second half? Waving the white flag.
of the Bama game? I don't think so.
No, Alabama. With UConn
I see what
on
you're
Saturday.
saying. I see what you're saying.
At 12:56 left in the second half, Alabama and UConn were tied at 56 apiece. Basically, UConn was coasting at halftime against Purdue.
What was the final spread on both games? I think it was pretty similar.
Very similar, 14 and 15.
11. I was going to say 11 to 15, somewhere pretty close final scores. But
it was very, very close. It was close. So I'm just teasing. Yeah, UConn, one of the best teams I've ever seen, and really, really privileged to get to watch them in person. Dan Hurley is a madman. I see, Chris, you're channeling your inner Dan Hurley with the bald head tonight. Luke, you got to shave to get the Hurley going on. But they're incredible, and it was a blessing. It was a privilege to watch it. Y'all want to talk some Bears, though? Now that I'm reconnected. Sorry,
let's talk some Bears.
I wanted to retweet a stream on my own, so I bounced out. I apologize about that. Before we hit the mock draft, there was news today. Our friend Keenan Allen has chosen a new jersey number.
No. That was fake news. No. That was fake news.
Me too.
I got got by it, Joe. I got got by
Oh
it.
no, he even announced in the chat he got. Oh, poor Joe. Oh, poor Joe.
Well, Keenan Allen's wearing 13 then for the Chicago Bears, and I am a dummy. I saw Aaron Leming tweet, "Oh, I got by fake news, but I never saw what it was," and that must have been it.
Well, I think. All right, I don't know if I have all my facts straight. I think I have most of them straight. I'm pretty sure Tyler Scott changed his number to 10, and that was tweeted by a legit source.
Correct.
Then an account came out with the same name that had 2 followers and said Keenan Allen is changing his number to 15, and that's what I fell for because it was the same exact profile that was literally just created, and it got me good.
Dang, me too.
I think Tyler Scott's jersey change was official. Is that correct, Chris?
That's what I thought.
I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. But
that is the word.
Well, okay, it's still a.
We should have let Joe just keep going. We should have just let you keep going.
Caleb Williams.
I was wondering what kind of news came out that I was like, wait a minute, what news came out? Like,
damn it,
Joe's just faking us all out.
Well, I thought it was just more tea leaves, more smoke going up that Caleb Williams is going to be number 1.
I think that's already been settled when he came out and said that the only visit he took was with the Bears, and they didn't even meet with Jaden Daniels or Drake May. So,
and they signed like 2 area scouts to the North Carolina Pro Day.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Signed, sealed, delivered. So, all right, we're at 7 minutes. Let's get into what the episode's going to be. We're basically assuming that number 1 is Caleb Williams. We're all celebrating that in our hearts as Bears fans, and hopefully that will go very, very well. For us, the biggest controversy and discussion is number 9. Are the Bears going to take one of the 3 receivers if they fall? Are the Bears going to take one of the tackles? Are the Bears going to take Dallas Turner if he's available? Is it going to be Byron Murphy or someone else? There's a ton of options, as well as trade down possibilities. So to get there, we're each going to take a team. We're going to start Lucas Berry with the Washington Commanders at number 2. I'll go next with the New England Patriots at number 3, and we'll go each in order. We haven't told each other who we're going to be taking. So hopefully Lucas doesn't take my guy at number 2 for the Patriots, and I guess I got the Giants as well. And Chris Krogman is going to be drafting for the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans. So. Luke, you want to take it away with pick number 2, or you want to say
sure thing?
Else?
I do just want to add one little thing, Joe. Since this was your brilliant idea, it's a great experiment. We are picking who we think will be taken, or who we want. If we were like the GM, who we would take.
I think the best way to do it is if you're Lucas Berry, the GM, who would be the best pick for your Washington Commanders. I mean, Chris, please override me, but that's how I kind of approached it.
Yeah, I just approach it how I think the draft will unfold leading up to there.
Same.
Perfect.
Which is fine.
You do you.
I'm just saying. So just so we're all clear on the ground rules. So I was just doing a guest appearance on my buddy's podcast, The B Team. They're great. Everyone should check them out. And they had me on to do my top 15 mock draft. And we were talking about this number 2 pick. Is this the pick Is this the pick of the team that has the most to lose in this entire draft before we get into it? Like, the Bears are taking Caleb 1, and the Patriots are most likely just going to take whatever quarterback is left, potentially. We'll see what Chris says or Joe says about that. But to me, is this like the pick with the most to lose? Because like we see it all the time where like the Bears took Mitch 2nd overall. I mean, I guess that's a different scenario. There was no real consensus there, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Is this the Zach Wilson, Trey Lance pick in the Trevor Lawrence draft?
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, is this where they have the most to lose just because they actually have to make the decision on the QB that they want?
I think it's the most amount of risk. But I think after the Patriots, there also becomes a massive amount of risk on who wants to jump up for McCarthy.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're going to put you're going to put all your eggs in that basket like Minnesota's being mocked to do. all the way as high as 4. I think I've seen to get McCarthy. That's going to be pricey from like, what are they in the teens or something like that? So
They have 11. Anyway,
that's a teen. That's a teen-ish almost.
Close enough.
Preteen.
Number 2, I think Washington is going Jaden Daniels. I don't agree with it. I think this is who they'll take. I think Drake May personally is a better QB, at least to my preference. But I think the fit with Jaden Daniels in Washington makes more sense to me. I think the fit with Cliff Kingsbury makes a lot of sense in that type of offense. It seems like he likes his quarterbacks a little more mobile. Kyler Murray, some of the other QBs he's worked with in the past there. So I think Jaden Daniels is going to the Commanders. Is it the right pick? I couldn't tell you that. I personally like Drake May better, but I think the Commanders go with Daniels.
So to the point that we were making about like Kingsbury and Waldron and all of the above, like I if I am the GM, I am not drafting my quarterback based on my current OC. Like Cliff Kingsbury is volatile as all get out too. He could go back to college at any point. He could somehow get another head coaching job in the NFL. I don't care what Cliff Kingsbury has to say. If I like Jaden Daniels the most, great. If it's Drake May, then it's Drake May. And Cliff Kingsbury better be able to work around that. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
I'm with you. Go ahead, Luke.
I was going to say, even at the end of the day, it might not even come down to Kingsbury. They might just have Daniels higher. It seems like, at least from what's coming out, it seems like a lot of teams are split on those two, and some teams don't even have Drake May in a top 10 or whatever. I don't know. My gut's telling me Jaden Daniels is the pick to Washington. I'm sticking with it. I do agree with you, though, Chris. Cliff Kingsbury could be gone tomorrow, and it won't matter. But
Drake May not in the top 10. That's dumb.
Well, I'm
some
going to
weird projections with him.
I'm going to ruin that little fantasy by go ahead and taking Drake May with the number 3 pick with the New England Patriots. I've talked to a couple Patriots fans who are closer following the team more than I have, and they the word was, if it's not Drake May, we got to trade back. We don't want Jaden Daniels, and we don't want Michael Penix. And so, Luke, if you're going to leave me the dream guy for this fan base, I think that they're going to end up taking. I mean, look, Mac Jones was an absolute bust. You're going to have to support Drake May and get him a lot more help than you got Mac Jones. But I think that is going to be their pick.
They at least have the benefit of sitting him behind Jacoby Brissett and let Jacoby Brissett get the crap beat out of him for a year while they beef up the team a little bit there.
Yeah.
The Patriots roster is bad.
Yeah, not good. I can't name another Patriot. Like Hunter Henry's still there. He didn't go. He didn't get re-signed, right?
I think they signed. Don't they have Mike Gesicki now?
Did they sign Gesicki?
They
have Jason Bourne. Oof, man, that guy's good. Super good.
I could see him trade down to this pick, but I think they need a quarterback.
I can too, but if it's going to be, if Drake May's there, then I think they're going to take him, and I think that, to your point, Luke, he's going to sit behind Jacoby Brissett with first-year rookie head coach Gerard Mayo. It's going to be a building process, but this is going to be their pick to kind of line up the head coach, the quarterback, and I guess the new regime now that Bill Belichick is gone.
Who's their OC?
Van Pelt from the Browns.
Scott Van Pelt.
Ozuna from the Braves.
It's Alex Van Pelt, right?
Yeah, it's Alex Van Pelt.
Scott Van Pelt. She like a dork. SVP. So we're not doing trades, right?
No, we can do them.
I mean, I think the Cardinals trade out, but since that just creates a giant shit show for us today.
No, do it. Do it.
I'm not gonna. I'm not trading. There's too much.
Chris,
too much
do
chaos.
it. I have trades in mind. Do it.
It's fine. There's no rules.
Is this where the Vikings get McCarthy?
I don't have an actual trade in mind.
Well, I do. Is it for McCarthy?
it would be for McCarthy for them to move up and do it. But hold on, like I
The
had,
Vikings, right?
yeah.
I think they'll give up both their first to do so. I think that's what they'll have to give up if they want to go up to 4 or 5.
What's their second first? Is it 20? What's their
It's like
second first?
It's wherever the Texans finished. I think it's like 26 or something like that. It's like 11 and 26.
11 and 26.
I think it's a little bit of an overpay technically, but there is a quarterback tax, so just keep talking about it. I'll find the values here for you.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota needs a quarterback. They are not going to they're not going to get another opportunity at 11 unless one of these quarterbacks falls out. The other opportunity here, obviously, is Marvin Harrison Jr. Or they could go defense. I mean, they need pass rushers, they need D tackles. They're very similar to the Bears in that regard. As far as Arizona goes. So if it's not a trade out, I would say it's going to be hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What am I missing? Yeah, there it is. It would be Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, so I think a fair trade would be if they gave up both their first and Arizona gave back pick 4 and a third. Would be pretty close in value for whatever that's worth.
You want to take that? You want to take that value, Chris Krugman?
What did you say?
Is that good?
What did you say? You wanted to
close value would be if the Vikings gave up both their first and you gave up 4 and a third or a third or fourth.
To go down to 11?
Yep.
And you get the second first as well. Done deal. Okay. Now, I like it. I think the Vikings are trading up to 4 or 5. My only objection to this is if Marvin Harrison is truly viewed as like the best player in this draft, I don't know if the Cardinals pass up on him.
I agree, and I don't like they have a giant hole there.
Yeah, they need a receiver bad. So like that's where I'm just like I could totally see them trading out because Monty loves doing that, and like he did last year, he traded out and traded back in. But like,
well, they're also a ways away still. I mean,
yeah.
Look, they have the 4th pick. I mean, and that's after Kyler came back and won them like a bunch of games. So
right,
they're a ways away still. So, and they have a quarterback. So if this pick was for a quarterback, that'd probably be different. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I could see it going either way.
I'm just saying from like sometimes the way people talk about him, like I heard Josh Lucas talking about Marvin Harrison. He's just by far the best player. Not by far, but he is the best player in this class, like better than Caleb. Like if they really view him as that, I feel like they'd be hard pressed to trade out of there and trying to recoup picks instead of just taking him. But
I'm trying to push Harrison down the board. If I'm being honest.
Well, if the board fell this way for the Chargers, which is very possible, this is interesting. Now, if you did the trade for JJ, that would be my ideal trade for the Chargers, right? That's what I had in mind until that happened. So now that's out. I could either take Marvin Harrison because I have a massive need there. But with Jim Harbaugh as my coach, you could also take Joe Alt, where things get very fascinating. I think they take Harrison. I think he's too good to pass up again.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But I think the Chargers are a prime trade-out spot. I think they're a prime spot for a lineman. The Chargers can kind of do whatever. They need a lot of help, and Jim Harbaugh is going to want to build it his way. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with Marvin there. So far we got Bears go Caleb, Jaden Daniels to Washington, Patriots, we go Drake May. The Cardinals trade out with the Vikings, who take J.J. McCarthy. The Chargers contemplate trading out, but they end up with Marvin Harrison. Joe Gaither's on the clock for the New York Football Giants.
Well, I'll tell you, the Chris Krogman, your Vikings trade burned me because the Giants' number one pick was going to be J.J. McCarthy. But now that that's off the board, the Giants still have a lot of needs in their premium positions available. You've taken Marvin Harrison, and you're not really. We as the Giants are not sold on Michael Penix, so we're punting on that. We're either going to take Joe Alt or we're going to take Malik Neighbors. You're going to need some. Golly, the Giants' offensive line is bleeping trash.
Andrew Thomas is pretty good though. At left tackle.
But shoot, can you? Will you flip it like? Is it Evan Neal on the other side? I mean, and I love you, Evan Neal, Roll Tide, but you just haven't really been that great on the right side. Let's be honest.
How many years have the Giants taken a lineman in the first round?
Right, and so with that, you go back to the last Giants pick. The last time the Giants picked a receiver in the first round, wasn't it the trouble?
OBJ.
Wasn't it the kid who? No. After OBJ, you drafted the Florida kid who's now, he's with the Chiefs. He dropped all those passes. Yes, Kadarius Toney.
He was drafted by the Jaguars. I think he ended up on the Giants. I think he was. Keep talking. I'll find it out. I'm pretty sure he was drafted.
Okay, I thought he was drafted by the Giants, but okay. At this point, you got so many people that are talking about Malik Neighbors being, maybe he is the best receiver in the class. I know what you just said about Josh Lucas, and I have been listening to him for a little bit.
You're right, drafted by the Giants.
Okay, all right. In the 20s, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So I think that they're going to go back and, we'll go Malik Neighbors. The Giants will take Malik Neighbors at number 6 overall.
I think that makes sense. I mean, their receivers now are like Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt, and they're all kind of small, scrawny receivers, so they really need an alpha there. And I do think Dayball's probably coaching for his job soon. I mean, can't keep doing this forever, so I think that
he's going to want to scheme up easy passes to Malik Neighbors and let him get – because I do think Malik Neighbors is really, really good on the run after the catch. So I think that's going to be the idea.
I mean, he reminds me a lot of Odell Beckham, ironically enough. So, all right, Chris, you are on the clock. Number 7, the Titans.
We are sprinting to the podium to draft Golden Domer Joe Alt.
This is one of those, do you almost feel like this is like Caleb Williams to the Bears? Like, are you putting this basically in Sharpie if it falls this way, Chris?
This is a no-brainer. Yeah, for sure.
Especially with Bill Callahan as their O-line coach.
Yeah. And I'm wearing my new Notre Dame sweatshirt.
Well, you watch the Domer. So, what's the scouting report on Alt?
He's fantastic. I think he projects better in the NFL than he did in college. He got beat sometimes in college where you're kind of confused, but
just like a safe player, right? Like a high
strong hands,
player.
strong hands, strong feet, quick feet,
huge body.
He's kicking people. He's just nasty all around. No, Joe Alt's going to be a good pro.
Yeah, I feel like the floor is really high for him, and the fit in Tennessee makes sense. They can pair him with Skoronski and maybe.
Man, they talk about Skoronski last year.
They never replaced Taylor Lewan either, right? So
yeah, this is Taylor Lewan or Joe Thomas or any other white left tackle that you can think of. There's not very many.
The Falcons are on the clock now. That is my pick. This is another one. I don't know why there has been some pushback on this. I think Dallas Turner to the Falcons makes a ton of sense. They lost Calais Campbell last year. They lost Bud Dupree in free agency. I think their leading sack leader last year had 6.5 sacks. They're definitely in the bottom of the league in sacks as a team. And if you just look at what Raheem Morris wants to do in his 3-4 defense and what Dallas Turner projects as, I could totally see him being kind of that hybrid pass rush outside linebacker combo that you see a lot of these 3-4 defenses use. And honestly, Morris deployed it last year with Byron Young there in LA, where he had 8 sacks as a rookie, second in the NFL for a rookie. I think Dallas Turner makes a lot of sense in that defense as kind of an invaluable chess piece. I think that's a good fit for him. And I also don't, the more I look into it, the more I don't know if I like him as much for the Bears because of that. Because I think he's definitely more of a 3-4 defensive end. I'm sure. What do you think, Joe? Could he put his hand in the dirt? I mean, this is going to be a popular. If the Falcons,
but
I think the Falcons could trade. All right, we're going to get into the Bears here, so you guys can join in on this combo because this is pick 8 and the Bears are up next. First off, what do we think about the Falcons being a trade out spot for a team who maybe wants to jump the Bears for, say, an Odunze? Likely, unlikely, do you think the Falcons stay put probably and take an edge rusher?
Depends on who it is. If it's like the Jets jumping the Bears.
I could see the Jets doing it, going all in for Rodgers, but like, you think they would stay close though, Chris? Is that what you mean? Like they wouldn't want to go too far?
Yeah, I don't think the Falcons want to go too far. That was what I was saying.
I think the Falcons want to get one of these premium players now that the quarterbacks have kind of shifted everything down.
Well, that's the thing. The more I watch this, Joe, I don't know if Dallas Turner's really good, but I don't know if I'm calling him a premium player. Like I feel like at least with the
edge rusher.
I don't know. I think it really depends on what defense you're running and which of these guys you prefer. I really don't think there's one of these guys where it's like he's so much better than the rest. You got to take him. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Jared Verse was the top rusher on some people's boards or Latu or whoever else. Like I think Dallas Turner has an insane amount of upside, but I don't know.
So if they're not convinced, what do you think they're more likely to trade out or to take Fashanu or take Aduns themselves or take Byron Murphy right
or
there?
Corner.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I don't know if the Falcons are necessarily locked in this, and I think it could be a spot where a team sees value in jumping ahead of the Bears potentially.
If they're sold on the Bears taking a wide receiver.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the other thing, right? You're playing mind games with the Bears. Last year, put ourselves 12 months earlier. Oh, we're taking Jalen Carter. Oh, it's Jalen Carter. Oh, it's Jalen. And the Bears trade out of the Jalen Carter pick to the Eagles. And they, got a good ball player in Darnell Wright, but everybody was on they're going to take Jalen Carter train. Like,
not us here, Joe. We had them taking Darnell Wright.
Well,
we sure did.
Later.
All right, so Joe, I'm not going to lie to you. I think the way Ryan Poles operates is very methodical, and it's almost predictable just from the way he operates. But it's also part of the mind game is reading between the lines, which I think we have to do here at 9.
Yeah.
But all right, so to bring this back to the Bears, I'm the Falcons. I'm taking Dallas Turner. I think the fit makes sense. I'm just putting it out there that I think 8 could possibly be a position where teams want to move up there to get ahead of the Bears. But I think, especially with Ryan Pace, man, Ryan Pace loves certain traits, and I know he's there working for the Falcons. Like, I could just see them loving Dallas Turner for whatever it's worth.
So who are our top 4 or 5 options here for the Bears? Obviously, trade out, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's pretend we're going to make the pick. And there is Roma Dunes, there is Olu Fashanu, there is Byron Murphy, there is Jared Verse. You just brought him up as well. So there's 4.
Fuaga.
Latu.
I think you could put basically any of the edge rushers or offensive linemen there, and I wouldn't be shocked. But, yeah, mostly the guys we named.
I would be shocked at Brock Bowers here.
You would?
Don't do that to me.
I'd be shocked at the pick, yeah. Like, I think it'd be a little early. Because so what they were saying is if you draft Brock Bowers at 9, he immediately becomes the number 1 paid tight end in the league.
Yeah.
Or something, or top 3, something like that. Like,
right, because the way the salary works.
Yeah.
I mean, back to what I was saying about the Bears and Ryan Poles being methodical, though, like, pretty sure he said a few weeks ago that they were breaking up into groups to identify which position they want to take out of the premium positions. And he literally mentioned offensive line, defensive line, and wide receiver. So to me, that's very telling on what they're trying to do with their 9th pick.
I don't know.
Somebody also said, was it DVB who said like he doesn't see anybody being able to move Poles off his guy. Like if his
I
guy
didn't
is
see
there,
that.
if his guy is there, he won't be able to. Nobody will be able to move him off of him. So like, say it's a Dunze or whatever.
Now, who do you think
like a trade back isn't gonna entice him?
Who do you think his guy is at 9? I have an idea in my head, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, so I think Poles and Eberflus are going to have a lot of discussions about this one. But I also think so. Like I would say it'd be like Fashanu or Fuaga, probably Fuaga, because you haven't heard Fashanu really tied to the Bears much from what I gather. But I think Poles has a hard on for Braxton Jones and wants to, have that feather in his cap that he found a 5th round starting left tackle. I mean, it could be that Texas kid. What's that Texas D tackle's name?
Murphy.
That's my pick.
Yeah, see. No, I'm just saying
pick.
I'm saying what just for the like where we're going with this discussion for how Chris phrased it, like the way DBB said if his guy is there. I think to me that's more of like a long shot statement, like he's probably going to be picked, but I think this is just a gut feeling I've had for a couple weeks with the reports coming out. I think Poles' guy is Malik Neighbors. I think he wants Malik Neighbors to fall to him so bad at 9. I've seen the Bears tied to Neighbors in multiple mock drafts where people had them trading up. I've seen tons of rumors about the Bears potentially trading up for a wide receiver. And then the other day we see a leak about, Neighbors' character might not be great. He might not be good in a big city. Oh, yeah, I wonder who could be doing that. I think that's like, I don't know. To me, that's his guy. Like, I could see him loving him. And, if he's there at 9, obviously you run that to the podium. But that's just my personal guess.
I think that's a good guess. I think it's a really good guess. I only was saying Byron Murphy is my pick is because I think that you get a guy like DeForest Buckner. You look at Eberflus's history, and you kind of get the same sort of mold. We talked about it last year, trying to get that 3 technique where they signed that guy. He signed that guy off the Browns or the Ravens, and he had that bum foot and never worked out. And obviously, you drafted 2 guys there. But
Ogunjobi. So
go ahead.
My question for you, Joe. Right. So I wasn't as high on Byron Murphy at first, and the more people talk about him, the more I watch. I was like, okay, I see it. He's lightning quick first step, the whole 9. Step in, plug and play 3 tech, probably the best 3 tech in the draft, arguably. The size for me is like, to your point, DeForest Buckner is gigantic. Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles love these dudes with these long, Gumby limbs, and they do all this. Byron Murphy is very good against the run and the pass. He's very short. Yeah, not to compare him to the absolute greatest ever, but he's built like Aaron Donald. I mean,
that's where you're seeing a lot of comparisons like that. I mean, if you're gonna,
I mean, just size wise is all I'm saying. That's it.
Think about it. Like if that comparison is, it's obviously not going to be 100% accurate because Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. But let's say that comparison is, he's, we were clamoring for Jalen Carter last year based off his quick step and his aggression through the interior and how much the Bears need a 3 technique. I think that can be a really game. I mean, the Bears improved defensively, and yes, they made me eat a lot of my angry and sad words at the beginning of the year, especially against the run. But if you add, look, you never replaced, was it Andrew Billings or Justin Jones? Right up front, you never replaced a couple of those guys. And so it's going to be a position to at least bring a body into If your guy is Malik Neighbors and the Giants took him at 6, and you're sitting there with, oh, you think he's the best 3-tech in the draft, and you passed on who was the best 3-tech in the draft last year, and you know it's a very premium position for your defense, I think that's more and more the way the Bears are leaning towards.
Yeah, I agree. And they obviously lost Justin Jones, who I know we've talked about him before. I mean, he got a fairly big deal from the Cardinals, and they didn't really do much to replace him. So, like you said, Joe, they're relying on the 2 young kids who they drafted last year, who showed flashes of being
I like them
potentially rotational players, but I don't really see them being, full on starters on a Super Bowl roster. I mean, maybe I'm selling them short, but no, they definitely do need it. But for me, that's my only hang up with Byron Murphy is they seem very stuck in their ways with measurables. I don't know if they can overlook the short arms, the short height, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think, Chris?
I mean, I think they want that engine, and whether or not they think Murphy's it or not is TBD.
Now you want to talk about an engine, though. The motor on that kid is insane.
Yeah, he's got that
effort. He's everything they like besides the length. Really is.
Well, like what was Tommy Harris?
Tommy Harris wasn't big. No, he wasn't big.
I mean that was that he was that dude in that same defense,
I'm just saying,
like those guys, like the guys that first started in this defense weren't long and like tall and things like that.
They were stumps.
They were, but they were dogs, So I could see him going down the Byron Murphy route.
You put a stump right in the middle that they can't move, and you can let Tremaine Edmonds get around them and fly the ball.
Well, I guess that brings me to my next point. The one guy that does check all those boxes and also fills a big position of need is Jared Verse. I mean, Jared Verse is probably your most well-projected 4-3 D end in this class, hand in the dirt type dude. Extremely high motor. Again, stops the run. And he reminds me a lot of Montez Sweat, actually, and just how well-rounded he is. All downs, high motor all the time. And he's got the long limbs. So he's checking all the boxes for the Bears. For me, I've kind of narrowed my vision on those 2 players as the guys I think the Bears are most likely to take. I'm starting to get away more from the wide receiver aspect of this. Even if Odunze's there, and I know all the fans want him, and I think he's very good, their defensive line, they need something. Like it's hard for me to think that they could leave this draft without a high pick there.
Right.
High investment.
You've addressed we need an opposite wide receiver from from DJ Moore in Keenan Allen. And does that mean you won't go get another receiver in this draft? No. I think that's very well on the table. But at 9, you're kind of balancing. Do you want to take Dunes, another, will be a real good player probably, or do you need to address an area that's kind of still a hole?
Now, Chris, I think you can speak on this because I know you've brought this up before where we've talked about the big paid, the highly paid wide receivers rarely are winning Super Bowls, right, Chris? Like Correct. The stats on that are very telling. And I think if you look at the highest paid receivers in the league, most of them are drafted after the first round. I mean, it's going to be changed after Chase and Jefferson get all their deals, but you can find talented wide receivers normally in round 2 is kind of like the hot spot. Obviously, the Bears don't have a pick there, but I'll let you speak on that and how you feel about Odunze versus the field at pick 9 here.
I mean, I think it's a luxury at this point, kind of to Joe's point with, already having Keenan Allen. But at the same time, you might only have Keenan Allen for 1 year. He might leave right after
this. And
he's injury prone. And he turned down a pretty significant offer apparently from the Chargers to kind of rework his deal and provide an extension. He wanted more money than they were willing to give him. So I think Odunze is a very strong possibility. However, I'm still very like if the board falls like this, I think there's a lot of possibilities for a trade down. With not too far. Within like 4 or 5 spots.
Right. So I talked about this before the show. I made a mock trade where I was just thinking of what team would trade out of there, right? So after the Bears, you have the Jets at 10. You have the Vikings at 11 or whoever they trade back with. So that could either be the Cardinals or the
Cardinals
Chargers.
for us.
Right. So if they traded with the Cardinals, maybe the Cardinals would move up for a Dunze. That makes sense, right? Then you have Denver. We don't know what they're going to do. They need an edge rusher. They also need a quarterback. Then you have the Raiders, Saints, Colts, Seahawks, and Jaguars.
Well, here in Denver, they seem to think McCarthy's going to make it to 12.
Yeah, it won't happen.
I don't think that's happening at this point.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like 4 quarterbacks and 3 wide receivers in the top 10, that's a lot.
2021, baby. Same thing.
How'd that draft class turn out?
Not good.
Not good.
Well, I'm just saying, it happens. The receivers were good.
I understand it happens. I'm just saying.
I know we don't believe in the draft odds here for the draft. I mean, I do. I think as you get closer, they mean more. But for what it's worth, JJ McCarthy's over-under right now is 4.5.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
Well, just I guess to your point, if there was
nuts. What's the over on that?
Under is like minus 230.
Shut the fuck up!
I swear it's on DraftKings. Well, I guess my point is,
if it's that high, then the deal's done. Like, why would they lose so much money?
I saw it posted earlier. I'll look it up. But anyway, that's what I saw.
That's wild.
My projected trade for the Bears was, and we can discuss this. Jaguars move up from 17 to 9. They get a Dunze because they lost Calvin Ridley, so they give Trevor Lawrence over there, Christian Kirk, Roma Dunze, Evan Ingram, a nice little receiving core. They move up and they give us their second round pick, number 48 and 17 for number 9. Are you guys accepting that trade?
No.
According to the value chart, it's roughly equal.
Right. It's just too far back.
In my personal opinion, I think they could get one of those, either Verse or Murphy there.
Well, when you said 17, I was thinking Jerez Newton, the Illinois kid. But if you can get Verse or Murphy, I mean, shoot, I'm saying no is too far back just out of fear. I'll say that, out of fear and unknownness.
Right. But if you could, in theory, get your defender and then circle back in round 2 and get a receiver and it worked out that way, it would be a win-win-win, right, Joe?
Yeah, for sure, 1,000%. If Byron Murphy becomes your next guy after Malik Neighbors, and you saw Malik Neighbors go at 6, and you think, well, Adunes, Fashanu, a lot of these guys there's still a lot of picks right there between Verse. I mean, yeah, it's risky, but yeah, that would be the best play.
And for whatever it's worth, I think I saw Byron Murphy's over-under was 16.5 right now. So
crazy. That's crazy.
Chris Krogman, how do you feel? Would you pull the trigger on that trade? Or are you staying at 9 and just taking who you want there instead of trading back and risking it?
It's too far.
I'm only doing it if you can get the second round pick, like anywhere in that. I think 17 is probably the furthest I'd go, but anywhere in that 10 to 17 range, I need a second round pick to move back. Like, I probably wouldn't do it for a second, third, to be honest.
I'm with you there. I agreed. You got to get something in that next round, whether you're trying to get Brian Thomas or, whoever. There's going to be a lot of good players in the second round.
So I know we talked about what we think is going to happen. Who do you guys want? Like, who do you want to be the Bears pick with their second first round pick in the draft? Whether it's 9, trade back, whatever.
Baby Aaron Donald.
Who do we want? I want Mark Morrison Jr. to fall to 9.
Yeah.
We can make a Jalen Carter situation happen, right?
No, I don't think we can.
Not that far. I don't think so. But yeah, like if you're throwing out baby like shades of Aaron Donald,
I'm not throwing out
remembering
shades of Aaron Donald. I'm saying
I
he's
know
built like
you.
Aaron Donald.
I know you're not, but there are people that are, and so
That's
I
crazy
mean,
talk.
if you're throwing out shades of Aaron Donald, I'm lost in daydreams. I'm like you've lost me from the conversation. Like the only other like yeah, Marvin Harrison. Well, yes, if you fall down, sure, or I don't know. I mean, if Dallas Turner was super Dallas Turner and a much better edge rusher, but no, I mean, if you're teasing me with baby Aaron Donald, that's what I want.
If you're like at 9, Joe, or trade backing, take him.
Oh, I don't think I know the board well enough. I think it's really risky to move back towards to 17, but
So I was running the PFN simulator like while we're doing this, and as the board fell, there's a few offers on the table. I'll run through all of them if you want, but it's like Baltimore offered a bunch of shit, but they're all the way back at 30. I don't want nothing to do with that. Miami offered 21.55 and a third next year. Vegas offered 13 and 44 for 9 and 122. Would you do that?
I might do that. Yeah,
I don't know
again?
why. I don't know why Vegas would move up for that, but Vegas offered 13 and 44 for 9 and 122.
That would be if they moved up for a quarterback, but I mean, this is a whole other discussion.
Well, let's accept it and see what they move up for. They moved up for
probably Penix.
For Shawnee.
Interesting.
Michael.
Well, that's another thing. I could see there being a bidding war between some of those teams in the middle. Like, I think they all need a tackle. The Raiders, the Saints, the Seahawks, and the Chargers, if the Chargers traded back with the Vikings, all need a tackle. So I don't think they trade back up, though. Real quick, Chris, I am on DraftKings right now. They do have a few draft position. McCarthy right now is over-under is 5.5. Under 5.5 is minus 205. Over is plus 165.
I literally just put it in the chat, bro.
Oh, sorry. To go top 10, he's minus 1,400.
Whoa.
To go top 10, he's minus 1,400. Roma Dunze is minus 1,600. Dallas Turner's only minus 170 to go top 10.
That's crazy town. The league must love this dude.
Dude, it's going to be funny if the Vikings move heaven and earth for him, man. It really will be.
And he's not good. If he's not, I think, honestly, I have a sneaky feeling that he will be good. But
he's a great fit with Kevin O'Connell. He's a great fit with O'Connell. I will admit that.
Who?
If he goes to the Vikings, then fuck him.
I think McCarthy's a good fit with Kevin O'Connell.
Oh, McCarthy? Yeah.
Yeah, in that offense.
Yeah. Brian Thomas over under is 15.5. That seems rich.
Not a big fan.
Well, Luke, we're at 48 minutes on my flight's coming up pretty soon. Do we want to make a pick, or do we want to leave the listener just considering everything we've said?
Leave them hanging.
I am ready to leave him hanging because I'm not ready to make a decision tonight. And I know last year we brought this up to the week of the draft when we all decided Darnell Wright is the pick. So
yeah,
I think we need to wait and see some more information come out, because now we're going into about 2 weeks away, and it's going to start to trickle out slowly but surely. So,
well, it's going to be a blast, guys. Is there anything else we've got left to contemplate this evening? I don't want to rush you, but I feel like we've accomplished the mission.
I think we had a great discussion.
I agree. This is a good time.
Well, make sure you follow us at Believe in Monsters on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. Please download, rate, review the podcast. We appreciate all the interaction. You can follow us on Twitter at BIM_pod. Follow my friend Chris Krogman at ShyBears1985. Follow my friend Lucas Berry at LBerry_40. And if you want to follow me, I am at JoeGaither6. We can talk Chicago Bears or anything that you like. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Believe in Monsters podcast, where we will continue the discussion. The Hayes in the Barn at number 1, but number 9 is still I think the discussion could go on and on and on and on because of so the options that we laid out tonight. We'll dive further into it next week. There will be more information. There will be more tea leaves to read. But guys, will you help me in the middle of the airport to finish us out? Bear down, Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear
Bear
down,
down,
Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
Put up a fight
With the might so seriously.
We'll
We'll
never get the way
you
throughout the nation.
with
your
your
team
formation.
Bear down,
Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears.
And
Let them
know why you're
Know why
wearing
you're
the
wearing the
crown.
crown.
Your
Pride
pride and joy
of
of
Illinois,
Illinois, Chicago
Chicago
Bears.
Bears. Bear down.